started work in 2019, built our first school. Since then, build 2, 3, 4 schools a year. The entire education system is just a propaganda machine because it's stemmed from initially, hey, we just need workers. And if we can control the children, we're set. We're set for life.
They never really ever teach you about money. Like,
no.
What is money?
But why would they? There's no benefit to them.
I wanted to speak a little bit about the charity work you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I had a few questions. The first one is why, I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but you do charity, you're building schools in Nepal.
Correct.
Why Nepal?
I get that question a lot, yes. It seems a little confusing. I'll be honest, it's not Nepal, it's more so the organization.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the funny things I learned in 2019. So when I first decided I would contribute a portion of my company's profits, in 2019, I very quickly realized, if you start going to charities and going, hey, I want to donate, a few £100,000 a year for the foreseeable future, they just think you're money laundering. Like, no one takes you seriously. You don't get any calls back. You don't get any, like, it's too unbelievable for them. Yeah. Like, unless you're like a big, like massive corporation, mm-hmm. and usually if it's like a big chunk that they just need to like sign off on. Mm-hmm. So, and bear in mind as well, I wasn't going to like Red Cross and stuff like that, because the thing is, there's charity
they're business, aren't they?
Yeah, there's charity you do to feel like a good person, and then for me, there's like, and bear in mind, there's charity you do, like the truest form of charity is you don't tell anyone about it, mm-hmm. and that's actually most of the work that I do. The reason that I did make it public was because if I felt like it related to my audience. Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of things I do in my life for a lot of people. And I have to come to the decision of like, is this genuinely inspiring for my audience? Like, for example, I bought my mom a $4 million house, a couple months ago. And obviously I was really in two minds of whether I should put that out, because I felt like maybe it would kind of ruin the experience and this and that. But I also remember like people will find that inspirational, like to be able to do that for your mom. So going back to 2019, the reason I brought that whole thing up is I needed a charity that I'm not just pissing away the money. So that means that you're working with smaller charities. And as I said, when you're going to smaller charities with that sort of yearly donation, a lot of them, they just think you're joking or trying to wash money or something like that. So ended up after 6 months, it was 6 months of work finding this, ended up finding an organization called THRST, and started work in 2019, built our first school, built schools, 2 schools in 2019. And then since then build 2, 3, 4 schools a year.
You having an input on what they're learning there? Or just raising an army of kids who are going to chop up your content and put it out on all the fan pages?
Yeah, no, that's actually my master plan. I'm actually just looking for cheaper employees in the future. I'll have them start working at 13. No, unfortunately, listen, I have an input in the sense of like, there's certain schools we decided, okay, in this school, does it make more sense to put more money into the IT center, or more money into the science department, or more money into library? And I have that. I mean, I'm the sole donor, so I get to basically decide those things. But I can't come in and be like, yo, you should not learn algebra because it's fucking stupid. Like that, I don't have, a right to dictate. And I also know for a lot of people, they find it very ironic and maybe even a little disingenuous that I am so scathing of the formal education system.
Oh yeah, you're cooking up something, aren't you?
I have such a disdain for the formal education system. And they're like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And that's funny. And one of my companies is a e-learning platform that is our educate. And our entire mission statement is 10 times the impact on your income for 1/100th the price of university. So like, I genuinely fucking hate universities. Now,
do you hate university more than school?
I hate university more than school, yeah, correct. Because also you can get free schooling. Now, I know in certain countries you get free universities. And actually in some countries you even get paid to go to university. But majority of universities, and also the thing is the people that are going to university, or the people who have those universities in those countries, usually even if, they're in a place like Netherlands, which from what I understand, it's almost free. It's so cheap. all the people from Netherlands are still trying to study in the US anyways, and just trying to go to UK and stuff like that. So I have friends of mine that have gone to the top universities and are genuinely, I look them in the eye and they're like, genuinely, I want to be a leading doctor, or I genuinely want to be one of the world's best lawyers. And I look in their eyes and they mean it. And when they mean it, I will not ever say anything further about education or my opinion, because they are living their truth.
Yeah.
Like that is actually their truth. And that's their dream. And you can never take someone's dream away from them. But that's 2% of people. 98% of people are there because they want to appease their parents. They feel like they should do, or they don't know what the fuck they want to do in life.
That was me. 3 years. And I remember just walking away from it thinking, what the hell was all that about? I spent a load of money. I had a fun time. You know, I had the university experience. But what I actually learned, it was just, I did economics and business management. And it was just this bullshit theory.
Taught by someone who's never actually run a business.
It's so mental when I think about it. It's even school, you go there 9 to 5, you have absolutely no say in what it is that you want to learn. You just sit, this is what you have to learn. You have in the UK, GCSEs, then your A-levels. You're doing it because you want to go to the university of your top choice, because everybody's telling you, oh, you need to go to university. Everybody around you is going to university. So you put all the work in, you revise, you study, you get the good grades, then you get to university, then you're like, that's it. Like, that's why I was busting my balls just to get to university. And here I am, and it's just this. I don't want to be here.
Yeah. No, and it's, you know, the unfortunate thing is the entire system is basically built to create workers. And that's why there's so many emotional triggers, even think all the way down to the alarm bells in American systems. There's so many emotional triggers to have you fall into line, even if you look at the way that the desks are placed.
Didn't Rockefeller come up with the school
correct
system?
The reason why is because they needed more workers. And the thing is, listen, whatever we implant into the youth's mind today, in 5 years, we won't see too much effect on it. In 10 years, we'll start to see some effect on it. In 20 or 30 years, it's just, they will believe whatever they've been told to believe. And here's the thing, listen, we can have a long conversation. And there's two sides to the conversation about, for example, global warming and climate change. But no one can sit here and deny the fact that these fucking idiots were saying that by 2000, all of Miami will be underwater. And then they moved the goalpost to 2010, and then they moved it to 2020, and Miami's totally fine. And the thing is, kids, I even remember being taught that, you know, about climate change and this and that. You know, Al Gore had a very big documentary. I think he was running for president back in the early 2000s. And the reason I bring this up is now you get all of these teenagers who are like, climate change. And I'm like, where's the climate change? Like where's the climate change that you were told about? You know, that you were told, oh, Miami be underwater. And by the way, I'm not saying that I do or don't believe in climate change. There's both sides of the equation. I don't think anyone can say for a fact 100% they've been fully truthful. Because as I said, Miami should be fucking underwater. And the thing is, Miami isn't underwater. And also, these banks would never, ever give loans. You got beachfront property in Miami that you can get mortgages for. Banks aren't stupid. No. You think they're going to give you a mortgage if they genuinely, from the bottom of their heart, believe that there is a chance in the next 10 or 20 years that climate change will get so bad that all of those houses will be underwater due to rising sea levels. It's fucking insanity. So anyone who's dumb enough to sit here and go, oh, climate change 100% exists or they're 100% truthful is an idiot. Also another, you know, the people with their tinfoil hats that are 100%, it's a full scam, blah, blah. There's nothing to it. I mean, I don't know. As said, this is why the youth is so important, because they can implant anything they want into the youth's minds, and they'll see that will come into fruition, and they'll see the fruits of their labor 10 or 20 years later. So the entire education system is just a propaganda machine. That's really all it's become, because it's stemmed from initially, hey, we just need workers. And if we can control the children, we're set. We're set for life.
The nice thing is that they never really ever teach you about money. Like, no. What is money?
But why would they? There's no benefit to them whatsoever. And it doesn't matter what school you go to. It doesn't, they're just not going to teach you that.
But
and they wouldn't have approval for it.
Important thing in life almost.
Yeah, of course. And that's, I guess without even realizing it, for years as I was going through the age of 14 to really 18, in that period, I was doing what the old Romans were doing. Mm-hmm. And I've always said, when time comes for me to have a child, I want them to follow the same principles that the Romans would, which is you would find a school of philosophy that you agreed with, and you would find a person who had a worldview and taught a worldview, and you would send your children to go question, think, ponder, and learn critical thinking in a school of philosophy that you agreed with. And to me, that's real learning. Mm-hmm. To me, that's real learning. That's real mentorship. Everyone talks about mentorship or guidance or this, that, like real guidance. And it's unfortunate. We don't really have that these days in school. Real guidance is having someone that is going to push you and make you really question things, not just going to teach you what they have been told to teach you in a textbook. So the whole thing is backwards.
Mm. And you have you've got a series coming out about this soon.
Yeah, every once in a while I get very into topic.
Because you did the Renaissance series.
I did Digital Renaissance, and then the one after that I did was called The Reset, which was all about world.
You have this ability you go there, but you don't go too far where you get yourself cancelled.
Yeah, listen, I know how to play the game, and I know how to. Listen, a lot of people are just very stupid. They like I've really seen this, especially in the last 2 years. For some reason, it's become.
I guess you watched the mistakes that Tate made.
Yes, and it wasn't even just Tate. It was even before that. I saw for some reason people had this obsession with self-snitching. I don't know why people find it smart to go online and talk about illegal things they've done, or quite clearly just completely ignore any sort of guidelines. You see all of these, once again, red pill guys that were kicked off of social media platforms, and they find that unfair when, listen, I'll be honest, the only one, if I'm truly honest, the only one that I was genuinely shit scared of was my event, The Reset. That was the only one where I was like, fuck, this is intense. I've gone deep.
Did anyone from YouTube reach out? No.
We got one channel strike for the trailer of it. I don't know why, but everything else was fine. But that was the one that I was genuinely I was on edge about.
Yeah.
But let me put it this way. If the videos went down, and actually, first, they weren't really breaching any terms and conditions, but if they went down, I wouldn't start streaming and crying about the fact that, they deplatformed me and all that. I think at a certain point, if you're going to play that game, you have to be willing to suffer the consequences. And by the way, I've played that game in the past, all the way back to even the COVID stuff. If you try to go look me up right now, I am fully shadow banned on Instagram. You type in every single letter of my name, of my username, except for one, and it won't come up. I am fully, and for some people, it doesn't even come up.
Instagram's growing recently, though. I think it's not as bad as it used to be.
No, I mean, listen, my engagement is insane. It's through the roof. I haven't seen many people with level engagement I have, but that's with me being shadow banned. Instagram is my smallest platform. And that's because of all of the C19 stuff I was posting for years and years. Yeah. I had my Instagram taken down many times.
Yeah, I think they have this list of the good people and the ones that are in the bad books. I think if you get in their bad books, you're always going to be in the bad books.
That lives on your profile. But the point is that when that was happening, and when I lost my blue tick multiple times, because I assumed that if someone's because obviously blue ticks are very different now than what they used to be.
Oh yeah, they used to be safe back in the
day. I guess for them, they saw it as if someone's has authority on Instagram, and they're speaking out all this stuff on C19, which you just were not allowed to do. I was doing it summer of 2020. I was telling people this thing's fucking bullshit. It's actually ridiculous that people are adhering to this and not critically thinking for themselves. So I was losing blue ticks. I was getting my accounts taken down. I had to fucking go through this whole process to get it back many, many times. But the point is, never once in that period did I think, they're so unfair. They're silencing me. I just knew the game. And I knew that, listen, if I want to do this, if I want to, on my own accord, decide that this is something so important to me that I will be so vocal about it, then I have to live with the consequences. So if I was to ever do something that was too, and I guess maybe even from that, I kind of learned how far you can push it. And like, I developed a lot of like phrases during that period. Like, for example, I would
cough, puppet masters,
cough, puppet masters, jib jab, you know, like all sorts of stuff.